friends. Welcome to the Stratonia podcast. This show is all about strategy, entrepreneurship, and smart business thinking, especially for African founders and professionals. I share lessons, tips, and insights from years of building businesses, and if you want to grow smarter and run better businesses, this is your podcast. Today, we will be diving into our blog post, 3 Mistakes I Made as a First-Time Business Consultant, so you don't have to. We're going to deep dive into these excerpts because they offer a really practical shortcut, especially if you're, navigating those early stages, building your own thing.
Yeah, setting up a consultancy or any service business, really.
Exactly. So the author, they started out feeling completely ready. Maybe you can relate.
Oh, definitely. That feeling of, I got this.
Right. Prepared to take on the world, but then boom, as the post says, the reality of building a business from scratch quickly set in. Those unexpected challenges just hit them head on.
And that mix of feeling prepared but still facing a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
That's so common for first-timers.
It really is.
What makes this source great, though, is how open the author is about the specific missteps they made.
Totally. So our mission today is pretty simple. We're going to unpack these mistakes, really dig into the lessons buried in there.
And hopefully give you a bit of a head start.
Exactly. This deep dive is really custom tailored for you listening to help you maybe avoid some classic pitfalls, build your practice more effectively, maybe right from day one.
Using their hard-won wisdom, essentially.
Let's leverage it. So let's get right into that first mistake the author flags.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, mistake number 1. Saying yes to every client. The author admits, early on, driven by that totally understandable need for revenue.
That eagerness, yeah. As a new consultant, you want the work.
Of course. So their instinct was just accept every single project that came their way, which on the surface seems logical, right? More clients, more income.
It seems logical, but the interesting part is why that approach backfired pretty quickly. According to the source, it just spread the consultant way too thin. They ended up taking work that was, quote, outside their core expertise or long-term vision.
Ah, okay. So not really aligned.
Not aligned at all. And trying to be all things to all people. It meant they really struggled to deliver consistent quality across all these different projects.
Right. And instead of focusing on their strengths, where they could really shine, they spent their days just firefighting, putting out fires.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like sustainable business building. That sounds like pure survival mode project to project.
Definitely not strategic.
No. And the author's big realization here, the core lesson from this, it's clarity attracts quality. That's how they put it.
Clarity attracts quality. I like that.
Yeah. They realize that figuring out your ideal client, defining your niche, it's not some late-stage luxury. It's actually crucial right from the start.
So foundational.
Foundational, because focusing your energy where your strengths really align with client needs, that leads to better results, more fulfilling work.
And probably attracts more of the right kind of work, too.
Exactly, like attracts like.
Okay, so clarity attracts quality. That's one key lesson. What else?
The second lesson they pulled out was excellence over volume. Basically, it's far more effective and definitely more sustainable, they write, to serve a smaller number of clients exceptionally well than to juggle too many projects mediocrely.
Quality over quantity. Makes total sense when you put it like that.
It does. So the actionable insight, the practical thing you can do. First, before just jumping in and saying yes, ask yourself honestly, does this project really align with my core strengths, my business goals?
Pause and reflect.
Yes. And then the really foundational step. Define your niche and ideal client profile. What problems do you actually enjoy solving? Who do you serve best?
And be clear about that.
Make that focus super clear in your positioning, your marketing, everything you put out there.
Okay. Because saying yes to everything sounds like, well, a fast track to burnout, maybe.
Yeah.
And also diluting your own impact.
Absolutely. You can't be excellent everywhere.
Okay, so after tackling who to work with, the author then hit another snag. This brings us to mistake number 2.
Right.
Which was lacking a structured service offering. So they started out trying to be really flexible, no clearly defined service packages.
And if you think about it, this lack of structure, it's just created confusion everywhere.
How so?
Well, think about potential clients. They weren't always sure exactly what they were getting or what results to expect.
Yeah, that ambiguity makes it hard to commit, doesn't it? I'm not sure what the clear outcome is.
Exactly. It makes the decision to hire you much tougher. And internally, the author mentions wasting countless hours customizing proposals and figuring out pricing, for every single unique request.
Oh, I can feel that pain. That sounds exhausting.
It is. And the source points out this often led to them undercharging or over-delivering without clear boundaries.
Ah, scope creep city.
Totally. Trying to be infinitely flexible without some kind of framework. It just eats away at your profit and, frankly, your sense of value.
Okay, so what were the big lessons here? What did they learn?
Well, first, structure builds trust. That's a key one.
Structure builds trust. Okay.
Yeah, having a well-defined offering, they found, makes it way easy for potential clients to understand your value proposition. It clarifies the deliverables. It sets expectations up front.
Reduces that friction in the sales process.
Exactly. Clients feel more confident when they know precisely what they're buying into.
Makes sense. And the second lesson?
Second, clarity enables fair pricing. When your services are clearly packaged, it's just much easier to establish transparent, value-based pricing.
Because you're pricing a specific outcome, not just hours.
Precisely. You're pricing the value, the result, and clients get what they're paying for.
So the actionable insight for you, the listener, it sounds like it's about being able to articulate.
Yes. Can you clearly articulate the specific problem your service solves and the tangible outcomes a client can expect? If you can't answer that clearly, that's your starting point.
Nail that down first.
Absolutely. And a simple way to actually apply this is to develop 2-3 core service packages.
Okay, not dozens, just a few core ones.
Right. The author suggests outlining the process for each, the key deliverables, the expected outcomes, and the pricing. Think of it like a menu.
Oh, a menu. I love that analogy.
Yeah, it makes it easy for clients to choose. You're presenting signature dishes you know you can make brilliantly, rather than trying to be a custom chef every single time.
That's much more scalable and understandable for the client. Okay, great analogy. All right, that brings us to the third mistake identified in the post: neglecting client management systems.
The systems part, crucial.
It seems so. Early on, with just like one or two clients, the author managed everything mostly through email and spreadsheets.
Which sounds pretty normal when you're just starting out, right?
Totally standard. And the author admits, yeah, it worked fine with one or two clients.
But there's always a but.
Always. This raises that big question about scalability and professionalism too, I guess.
Yeah.
As the business grew, it quickly became chaotic and inefficient.
Okay, chaotic how? What did that actually look like on the ground?
Well, this source described things like deadlines were missed, communications got lost, just stuff falling through the cracks.
Ouch. That erodes trust quickly.
Definitely. And importantly, that lack of organization, it undermined the professional image they were trying so hard to build.
Right. They realized they desperately needed repeatable systems.
Yeah.
That manual ad hoc way of working, it just couldn't keep up with growth.
You hit a ceiling with that approach. So what are the big lessons learned from this mistake?
The source really highlights that systems create leverage. That's the big idea.
Systems create leverage.
Yeah. Implementing even simple tools like a simple CRM or project management software. Things like Notion, Trello, Asana, even a basic client tracker.
Doesn't have to be complicated.
Not at all. But it automates routine stuff, helps you track progress reliably, and crucially, it frees up significant mental energy. You're not constantly juggling details in your head.
Taking things off your plate mentally.
Exactly. And beyond just being efficient, they also learned that organization signals professionalism.
Ah, that's interesting. It's not just internal.
No, it directly impacts the client. Smooth, organized client management. It really enhances the client experience. It builds confidence in you, in your capabilities.
And that leads to better relationships, better results, presumably?
Absolutely. It shows clients you've got things under control.
Okay. So the actionable stuff here seems really practical. What's the first step they recommend?
Super simple first step.
Yeah.
Choose one core tool to streamline your process. Just pick one to start.
Don't get overwhelmed by options.
No. And start simple. Don't try to automate your entire business overnight. Focus on the essentials first, tracking client communication, key project milestones, and deadlines. The basics.
Get the fundamentals covered by a system.
Right. And a great way to figure out where to start is to ask yourself this question. What is the biggest point of friction in my current client management process?
Find the biggest headache.
Find the biggest headache, that one specific area, and then build a simple system to address it first. Don't try to boil the ocean.
Small, targeted improvement.
Exactly. Those small fixes in your systems can unlock a surprising amount of time and really cut down on stress.
Wow. Okay, so looking back at these 3 points, saying yes selectively, structuring your services, and building systems, It really paints that picture, doesn't it? That journey from the initial, maybe chaotic struggles.
To actually building real momentum, just like the author described.
Yeah, and the conclusion of the blog post really ties it all together nicely. It summarizes the core principles that came out of fixing these mistakes.
It does. First, be intentionally selective about the clients and projects you take on. Focus.
Second, create those structured service offerings that clearly communicate your value. Clarity.
And third, build those simple systems to manage your work and scale effectively. Leverage.
Focus, clarity, leverage, those feel incredibly valuable. And not just for consultants, honestly. It feels like anyone building any kind of business or professional practice could use these.
Oh, absolutely. They feel like really fundamental building blocks for sustainability, for growth.
Yeah, they really are. And the author leaves us with a great reflection prompt, something specifically for you, the listener, to think about after hearing all this.
Which of these three mistakes, saying yes too often, lacking structure, or neglecting systems, which one resonates most with your current situation? Or maybe your concerns right now.
Yeah. Which one hits closest to home for you?
And based on that, what is one small, concrete step you can commit to taking, maybe this week, just one small thing, to start addressing it in your own practice?
Just one small step. Take a moment right now, maybe pause this and think about that one step you can take.